Welcome to the Success Sensei podcast for anyone interested in success, happiness, and balance. We'll teach you how to be a black belt at life. And now, your host, former professional fighter, multiple world champion, entrepreneur, and investor, Robert Devan.
Bowing in. This is Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei, helping you to improve your life one kick and punch at a time. And today I'm talking about ironclad self-motivation. Now, the self-motivation bit is highly important because no one else really is going to go out of their way to be motivating you. And if you're relying on other people and external forces to motivate you all the time, you're going to struggle. A lot of people might not be that motivated, even though they'll pretend they are, to motivate you because they don't want to give you their energy that they need for themselves, for their own personal motivation, and also because they might not really want to see you succeed or to outdo them. So while people are really, really helpful for your motivation, self-motivation is the strongest and best motivation of the whole lot. I didn't realize when I started teaching martial arts, a long time ago, 25 years ago or maybe longer, I didn't realize that people struggled with self-motivation so much that they weren't actually just necessarily coming to me for training or for fitness. A lot of the time they were coming to me because they wouldn't do the training themselves, or they couldn't push themselves through the actual workouts. So self-motivation is really, really important, because the people that developed self-motivation through me were the ones that went on and did better than the ones that were 100% reliant on me motivating them. So we all need teachers, we all need coaches and mentors, we all need senseis, but self-motivation is still really, really important. You need that as well as all your external motivation factors. So I've done a good few of these podcasts so far, and I'm always listening to other people's podcasts, and then I realized, you know what, I've not done an advert for my own sponsor, and my own sponsor happens to be my own website and my own club, and I've never done one. So you know what, I should probably do an advert. So maybe I'll stick in a fancy jingle, maybe I'll do it properly in the editing, and maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just do a guerrilla warfare style, and here it goes. Right. So Martial Arts Incorporated, martialartsinc.com, that's my website, martialartsinc.com, where we specialise in kickboxing, boxing and self-defence classes and courses, private and group training for men, women and children. Whether you're close to us or not, there's tons of information on the site, there's tons of articles, and you can contact me through. Once you get to that website, it's easy enough to get in touch with me. So that's the advert. Maybe I'll stick in an outro jingle here, or maybe I won't, and we'll go with that, and I'll get it done for the next day. But I have never mentioned the website, and that has given me all the experience for all of these podcasts that I actually do. So speaking of self-motivation and ironclad self-motivation, I'm actually sick at the moment. I know, boo-hoo, feel very sorry for me, sicky wicky, floozy woozy, and I'm still very motivated to do this podcast, because I've set myself a goal with the podcast, and I want to make sure that I see it to completion, or just at least to be on track and doing this even with a sore throat. So apologies to anybody if it's affecting your listenership. Right, I've written down quite a few notes. So with the way I do these is I like to have a rough idea of what I'm going to talk about, but I don't really like sticking to a script, so I won't be very rigid, and I'm going to ad-lib a fair bit. But this is all information that I know you're going to use, and it will help you to bring out the motivation that I know is in you already. So self-motivation is what we're talking about, an ironclad self-motivation. First of all, I just want to say that I give you full permission to be grateful for everything you have, or everything you have done, but you're still allowed to strive for more. So that's very, very important, because people think that to be self-motivated, to strive for more, you can't be happy with your lot. You can be happy with your lot, you can be grateful with your lot, but you can just want to continue to increase your body of work or your life experience or your material possessions. I'm not here to judge you otherwise, so you've full right to do that. So there's no harm in wanting to better yourself. That doesn't mean you have to be not happy with your current circumstances. So by all means, make sure you go over everything that you have, everything that you're grateful for, and feel free to strive more, to continue to do more, and to achieve more, and to have more life experiences. So know what you want. Motivation is very much tied to your goals. Now, I have done a podcast on goals. It was podcast number 5, and it was about turning your wishes into plans. So do have a listen to that. I'm not going to go over that stuff again. I'm not going to go over goals again. But motivation is very much tied to your goals. You have to really know what you want to be motivated to be able to achieve it. You have to be able to picture it. You have to be able to visualize it. Once you really know what you want, it's easier to be motivated. So I know that might sound really obvious, but sometimes you think you want something, you don't have the motivation to really do it. So therefore, if you actually really break it down and look at it, you probably didn't really want it. So that's a part of it as well. Don't expect motivation to be there for goals that aren't really proper goals for you. So goals that you think you might like to have, or you think you might like to do, isn't really a strong enough thing to be motivated about. So if it's not actually true in your mind, your body, and your soul, that you don't actually really want it, you can't envision it, you can't picture it, smell it, taste it, whatever, then it's going to be very hard to be motivated to do it, to achieve it. And to keep that motivation going over long term, because that's the thing with all goals. You need to extend your time. Yeah, think big, absolutely. Yeah, make big plans, but extend the time on your goals. That's the biggest flaw. Everyone thinks what they can do. They overestimate what they can do in a short period of time. They underestimate what they can do in a lifetime, but they overestimate what they can do in a short period of time. So what you think is going to take 12 months might take 5 years, might take 10 years. I'm sorry if that's really negative, but it's actually not. If you stay true to the course, you'll get there. But it's probably not going to be as quick as you think it's going to be when you initially set out your goals. And that's where your motivation will wane. When things take a little bit longer and you get frustrated, that's when your motivation is really tested. So make sure that you're always looking at the bigger picture. Small steps. Break it down into small, manageable, daily, weekly, monthly steps. So I know that's talking a little bit about goals too much, but goals and motivation are very much hand in hand. Each morning and each night, make sure you review what you want to do. Now, that is a motivational exercise. It is going over your goals, but it's to motivate you for the next day, or for the day at hand, depending on whether you do it at night or in the morning. That will definitely help to motivate you towards those goals, because that's what you're looking for the motivation for. Be hungry. Don't be satisfied. Don't be caught in the comfort zone. Now, again, remember what I said earlier, that I give you permission to be grateful for everything that you have. But that you're still allowed to strive for more. So don't be satisfied with your lot. If you want to have motivation and you want to do other things, you can't settle. Be satisfied with everything that you have to the point that you don't. If you are satisfied with everything that you have and everything that you've done, then you don't actually need this podcast, because you don't need to strive for more, because you're already there. You've already done it. But hopefully that's not you, because if it is you, in a way I feel a little bit sorry. If you think you've already made it, you've nothing to go towards, you've nothing to excel or grow towards. Hang on one second, here comes a cough. I told you I was sick, and that wasn't a sympathy cough, so yeah, feel sorry for you. But anyway, we'll soldier on through this, because I'm very motivated to talk about self-motivation. Right, next thing you need to do is basically avoid drainers. Avoid negative people that drain all the energy that you have. There's been times that I've gone to the gym and I've had a few classes to teach, and I was very motivated to train, and I've taught some classes, and then even though physically I mightn't have done that much, by the end of certain classes I was actually tired and I wasn't motivated to train anymore. And one of the reasons for that was because I'd given my energy to or possibly negative customers, but I definitely gave my energy to them. And you know, we do have a finite amount of energy, daily energy anyway. So avoid basically negative people, avoid negative drainers. You know, yeah, sure, if there's someone in your life, a friend that needs help, of course, be there for them. But I'm talking about consistent moaners, consistent negative people. You're just going to be giving your energy to them, and that's energy that you need to motivate yourself. So don't let yourself away with any negative self-talk. That's another one as well. When you find yourself being negative, that's going to really hinder your motivation. So you can't let yourself away. So in your own mind, when you say something negative to yourself, you can't let yourself away with it. You have to answer yourself back. So I know that might sound crazy. It's a process that goes on in your head, though. If you say to yourself, I can't do this, in your mind, you immediately have to answer yourself back that you can do it. There's no reason why you can't do it. Other people have done it before with less skills or less ability or less situational circumstances than you have. So of course you can. There's no reason why you can't. You cannot let yourself away with that kind of negative self-talk, because that will strip away all your motivation. Choose your influences. So that means your friends. We've already talked about drainers. So align yourself with people who you admire, you look up to, or peers who are motivated as well. I mean, like attracts like, and it will 100% help you on your journey, especially if you can share with them what you're striving for. So self-motivation is, as I said, comes from the self, but it can also be added to from influences like friends, reading material. That's another very important one. Put into your mind stuff that's going to help you with your motivation. There's many motivational things out there. It could be to do with the subject matter that you're interested in, or it can just be general self-help stuff. If that works for you, get it into your mind, read it, or listen to it. Podcasts like this hopefully will help motivate you along the way. So they should definitely be added to your self-motivation routine. Movies, that's another really good one, because they could be biopics. I find biopics very, very motivational, especially if they are a subject matter that interests you. There was a stage where I wouldn't go into a competition without having watched When We Were Kings. I don't know if you saw that, Muhammad Ali. It's an amazing documentary. I must have watched that so many times. So every time I'd watch it, I wouldn't watch it the night before the competition, and it wouldn't matter whether it was karate or kickboxing. Even though the subject matter was Muhammad Ali and it was boxing, it was seriously motivational. So I'd watch it. I wouldn't watch it that night before the competition because I wouldn't sleep. I'd watch it in the morning. Early in the morning, I'd get up and I'd watch that before I went along to compete. And rightly or wrongly, it definitely had an impact on the person that I was and the way that I competed. I thought it was an amazing documentary, and if you haven't seen it, check out When We Were Kings. You'll definitely be motivated if you watch it. So there's many other things, many other movies and many other TV series that you can watch that will motivate you. So use that. Avoid the news. You know, that's a hard one. I like to stay on top of current events, but sometimes the news and newspapers and the news on your phone all the time, it can be a little bit depressing, and it can be very negative, and it can eat into your motivational energy. So just be very wary of that. If you're immersing yourself too much with the news and you're finding it hard to do the things that you want to do, to get the motivation to do the things that you want to do, it could be linked to that. So just be conscious of that. The other problem is, you have to be prepared for the sacrifices. There are going to be a lot of to achieve anything in life. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices. So to continue your motivation can't decrease based on the sacrifices that you're going to experience. So you have to, at the very onset, you have to know there's going to be a lot of sacrifices. So to try to make sure that your motivation, so that's when you can use those other tools to motivate you, especially at times where there's a little bit of an ebb in your motivation. It's waned a little bit, or you're frustrated. That's when you might use the movies or the reading material or listen to your podcasts, which help you get over that hump. So if you're going to come across sacrifices. So if you're not kind of prepared to go through the sacrifices to get what you want, or to do what you want, or to experience what you want to do, or experience what you want to have, then do you really want it? So that's what I was saying earlier about goals. Don't set yourself, false goals. If you really want something bad, you'll be prepared to make all the sacrifices in order to achieve that, or in order to have it. So that's a part of the process. If you're not prepared for those sacrifices, you don't want to do them, and you're not prepared to go ahead with them, then it's not really a goal of yours. So it's obviously then your subconscious is not going to let your motivation motivate you through that. So you have to be prepared for the sacrifices. Motivation, the great news is motivation is already in you. It's about bringing it out. It's already there in you. It's already very, very strong. You're already hardwired to have motivation towards your goals. So proof of that, please, Robert. Well, one little bit of homework regarding motivation is I do want you to Google the story about Socrates drowning the boy. He doesn't drown him, don't worry, it doesn't end bad, but just a lesson regarding motivation. And I won't do it justice by saying it here. I have a few other pointers, but I won't do it justice. But do Google it and check it out. Socrates and the boy who wanted to know how he could be motivated and really amass as much information as possible. So Google Socrates, the boy drowning story. Have a Google of that and see what you think. It's actually a very, very good story. The next thing is to prove that motivation is already in you. I'm sure you've read or heard stories of people lifting very heavy items that, cars, for instance, that have trapped kids, or, suddenly they've managed to get some superhuman strength out of nowhere, or they reacted just on the spot. They didn't tell their body or their limbs to do these things. They were just so extremely motivated. They reacted to the situation. So it's hard to explain some of these things, but it's just your motivation bypassing your subconscious thought or any kind of negative thought. I'll tell you another thing that seriously motivates you. I know a lot of fighters that can't train properly. They have difficulty training unless they have a fight. They're just not motivated. When they have an opponent and they know there's an opponent coming up and they can see in their mind that opponent training hard, that's what pushes them to train. So every time, it's some difference between somebody that punches a punch bag just, for fitness, and someone that's punching a punch bag that they actually can envision their opponent as that punch bag, and they're envisioning that opponent training hard. That really, really motivates fighters to train. Like, I'm biased because I'm a martial artist that likes the competitive side of fighting, and then you get fighters who do martial arts so they can fight. So, I do martial arts and I fight. I'm not a fighter who does martial arts. So I'm a little bit biased as to that. But I find a lot of people, a lot of fighters specifically, can have difficulty fighting if they don't actually have difficulty training if they don't actually have a fight. I know a lot of boxers that as soon as their competitive career is over, they never box again. They never hit a bag again because there's no point to them because the competition is over. So that's another way of being very, very motivated, self-motivated, is get yourself a fight with somebody. You don't have to fight. You don't have to do martial arts at all to listen to these podcasts. But you can definitely learn from the lessons that from the harsh lessons that I've learned. What else do I have? Oh yeah, another thing that would really motivate you. So a lot of people are struggling with getting in shape and diet and all that kind of stuff, and they're literally falling off the wagon all the time. They think they can't do it. They think it's not in them. Just imagine for a second. Imagine you were told that you had 4 weeks. You were going to be doing a naked calendar shoot in 4 weeks. It was mandatory. You had to do it. And everyone was going to see this naked calendar. You're going to be on every month from January to December, and you had 4 weeks to get ready. And this, you had to do it. There's no backing out of this. I guarantee you would train very, very differently over the next 4 weeks. I guarantee you'd have a totally different mindset to the one of self-defeat. I guarantee you'd be a hell of a lot more self-motivated. And just to sweeten it up a bit. Imagine you were going to be given. Imagine there was a big payoff for the calendar as well. Imagine you were going to be given 100,000 euros or dollars or pounds in 4 weeks' time for completing the shoot. You would definitely be in shape. Imagine you were given here's another one. Imagine you were given this is weight related. Imagine you were given £1,000, euro, or gold bullion, or whatever helps you envision it. But imagine you were given €1,000 per pound of body weight that you lost. Imagine that, 1,000 per pound of body weight that you lost. I guarantee you'd have lost more pounds than you've ever lost before. It's a totally different motivation. So it's a financial motivation, but the whole purpose is to prove that it's in you already. Motivation is already in you. It's about maintaining it for the long term, and it's about bringing it to the surface. So stop talking about things. Stop dreaming about things. Momentum is all that you need. Momentum. One foot in front of the other, and you really should start now. Thank you for listening. I'm Roundhouse Rob, the Success Sensei. Life is a fight. You can win and enjoy. Bowing out.
This has been the Success Sensei, fighting the winning fight. So add us, subscribe, like, and comment. Keep those hands up and keep moving forward.